Like every season in Project Diablo 2, there's a handful of changes and you don't know what the f you want to play. Thankfully, you're not alone. Let's talk about it. All the builds that I'm using this are running the same gear, which, to keep things simple, is just a spirit or something equivalent, a splendor shield for the skill, a lore helm for the skill, a +1 to all skills amulet, and everyone's version of their class-based chest rune word, like treachery, for example. Now, diving into the first one, we have the new Arctic Blast Druid. And I gotta say, with only +6 to all skills, this thing fell flat on its fucking face compared to the other builds that you can do. But that's not a bad thing. This is still such a good build to play and was honestly super unique because there's nothing else really like it. But if you're trying to cure that elemental itch, I would highly recommend sticking to either the classic wind or the fire version, especially because both of those versions do 2 types of damage, being physical and 1 element, so they can farm pretty much anywhere right after hell. Next up, we've got the Blizzard Sorceress. Now, there's a few others like this, but I feel like the Blizzsork is kind of on its own level when it comes to clearing cows right after Hell Bale. Like its predecessor in LOD, this build is extremely straightforward and easy to play for just about anyone. Now, the kicker is this build can build into so many others in the late game, and it's one of the few that can specifically be built for Declone and Rathma. In fact, the Sorceress was my very first Declone and Rathma kill. The next on this list is my favorite one by far, and that's the Necromancer, as some of you know. And believe it or not, the build that I'm actually going this season on Necromancer is the Clay Golem Amplified Damage build. It is legitimately stronger than almost any class, even naked. There's nothing it can't farm right after Hell Bale, and it barely even takes just 1 hand to play. I do, of course, always swap to Desecrate later on, once I hit about 12 or 13 skills, but man, there really is something to be said about the Summon Necro just starting out. Now, for the Paladin, it's always some version of caster with me. I love the idea of a melee Paladin, but I just have not given it the time of day to really see its true potential just yet. So for that reason, I'm going with the Holy Bolt Paladin. Holy Bolt and Fist of the Heavens kind of go hand in hand, so you can choose whichever one you like, but from a fresh out of hell standpoint, Holy Bolt seems to have a much tighter kill window than Fist of the Heavens. Since both of these builds do magic damage, they can farm just about anything right out the gate, which means you can find your favorite zone in Sanctuary and proceed to blast your way through it with extreme prejudice. For the Amazon, this one was actually really hard for me. It was a very, very close toss-up between Plague Javazon and the full-on Summon Zon. Now, of course, the Summon variant is a lot more physical damage than anything else, so that kind of gives it a little bit more potential when it comes to farming right away, but the Plague Javazon just felt better for clearing mass groups like cows, for example. Now, I don't know how much foreshadowing this is, but based on the recent patch notes, it's looking like Multi-Shot Zon is going to be making a huge comeback this season. So you can use something like this Plague Thrower to start farming currency to build into that. And wherever this is on the list, we now have the Barbarian. The Double Throw Barbarian just never really tickled my fancy the way that I think it's supposed to. The Leaper, on the other hand, does things to my nether regions that I haven't felt in years. If you have ADHD like me and 92% of the other Project Diablo 2 community, you'll find yourself enjoying your Saturdays bunny hopping through maps with a giant fucking smile on your face. The only warning I can give everybody with this build is if you're trying to play this on hardcore, you cannot drink potions while you're flying through the sky. So pay attention and make sure that this doesn't happen to you. Last on our list, we have the Lightning Trap Assassin.
What? But Pool Doodle fire's so much better!
For whatever reason, the couple extra shots that the Lightning Traps have now brings it a little bit closer to that vanilla feel of Lightning Trap. Now, if only Death Sentry would do more than 2% of something's life. The Lightning Trap Assassin is absolutely incredible at farming cows, Chaos Sanctuary, early tier 1 maps, or even keys to start out your uber wealth. Like the other classes, there's a ton of other builds that you can play, but like the Sorceress, this is one of the builds that can easily be turned into something that can do Declone and even Rathma. Now, this bodes the obvious question: what are you playing for Season 9 of PD2? You'll have to let me know in the comments down below. And on your way down there, be sure to like this video and maybe share it with some of your friends. And of course, if you're feeling like going the extra mile, subscribe to the channel, because there's probably going to be more content out there in the future. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I do try to stream once a week here on YouTube, so feel free to stop by for that. And as always, if you're bored, YouTube recommends this next video for you. Happy grinding, my friends, and we'll see you in Sanctuary.